Most people alive today have forgotten the age of giants, if they ever knew it at all. The old books speak of them only in riddles, shadows walking along mountaintops, voices that rolled like thunder across valleys, hands big enough to cradle storms. But there is one story almost no one remembers anymore, a story that nearly slipped between the cracks of time. It begins on a night when the sky itself felt heavier than usual. In a tiny cliffside village called Marrow's Edge, where homes clung to stone like nervous barnacles, lived a young historian named Elara Thorne. She had always felt the sky was watching her, tilting, listening, waiting. Most people dismissed her fascination with ancient myths, but Elara knew there was something behind the veil of ordinary life, something vast. And on that strange night, it finally stepped forward. Just before dusk, a monstrous storm cloud hovered above the ocean, silent, unmoving, thick as iron. The villagers whispered that the sea itself had stopped breathing, the waves frozen in an unnatural calm. No wind, no rain, just the oppressive presence of something immense. Elara climbed the ridge to watch, expecting the cloud to eventually break apart. Instead, it shuddered, as if waking from a long sleep, and a deep, ancient hum rippled through the sky. The storm wasn't a storm. Two enormous glowing eyes opened inside the mass of vapor. The cloud blinked, and Elara felt her heartbeat echo with a thunder that wasn't thunder at all. A shape began to take form, shoulders the size of hills, limbs woven from the very fabric of weather, a towering silhouette whose head brushed the first stars of twilight. It was a sky giant, a being from a time when the world was young enough to share the heavens with colossi. But this giant, unlike the tales, looked weak. Its glow flickered like a dying lantern. It struggled to speak, and the sky trembled. The anchor is breaking. Then it collapsed, falling like a mountain of cloud onto the sea. The resulting shockwave shook the village to its stone foundations. But the waves did not rise. The ocean remained eerily flat, as if waiting. Elara felt something calling her from the shoreline, not a voice, but an invitation, a pressure behind her ribs, a guiding pull. When she reached the beach, she saw something half buried in the sand, a spiraling shard of crystal 3 times her height, glowing faintly with the same dim light she had seen in the giant's eyes. When she touched it, her consciousness was flung into a vision. She saw a world layered atop her own, an upper realm where the sky giants walked. They were guardians, born from the storms, shaped from lightning, responsible for keeping the delicate balance between earth and sky. Their realm was tethered to the human world by an ancient mechanism known as the anchor, a colossal construct made of living light. But the anchor was failing. Piece by piece, it had been crumbling over centuries, ignored by both mortals and giants. And when it fell completely, the upper realm would dissolve, and the storms that formed the giants would collapse onto the earth in a single catastrophic flood of raw elemental force. The giant Elara saw in the vision, tired, flickering, had been one of the last anchor keepers. Its collapse meant the final breakdown was near. When the vision faded, Elara found herself kneeling in the sand, breath shallow, heart racing. But she understood her purpose now. She had been chosen to mend the anchor. The next morning, Elara packed little: a rope, a journal, a rusted compass, and enough bread to pretend she was prepared. She lifted the crystal shard, which was now weightless in her hands, and held it toward the unmoving storm. The shard vibrated, rose from her palms, and unfolded into a shimmering doorway made of spiraling light. Without hesitating, Elara stepped through. The world on the other side was breathtaking, sky islands floating in an endless expanse, storms drifting like gentle beasts, waterfalls of cloud cascading into nothingness. And walking among these wonders were the sky giants, though far fewer than she expected. Most appeared translucent, dim, almost ghost-like. The largest of them approached her. His steps echoed like distant avalanches. "I am Erelos, last warden of the East Wind," he rumbled. "You carry the shard of the anchor. Only a mortal may wield it now." "Why me?" Elara asked. "Because the giants can no longer touch the anchor. It has grown too fragile, and we too frail." Erelos lowered himself until his face, massive, glowing, yet impossibly gentle, hovered close to her.
You may be the final chance
You
for
may
both
be
our
the final
worlds.
chance for both our worlds. Erelos guided Elara to the center of the realm, where the anchor stood like a broken sun. It was a colossal wheel of light, cracked in hundreds of places, its beams sputtering like dying stars. Beneath it roared a vortex that connected the giant realm to the human one. Elara felt the structure's pain. Yes, pain. The anchor was alive, in its own strange way. Erelos explained that each crack represented a forgotten promise between humans and giants. Long ago, the two worlds were connected, sharing storms, stories, and seasons. The anchor fed on connection. Without it, it withered. Elara pressed the shard against the anchor's cracked core. Light exploded outward in a spiral. She was thrown into a cascade of memories, not her own, but the shared history of giants and humans. She saw ancient festivals beneath storm-lit skies where giants danced with lightning. She saw Titan guardians calming tempests for sailors. She saw villagers offering songs to the clouds, and the clouds answering with gentle rains. She saw unity. She saw loss. And she saw that she, a historian who never stopped believing, carried the last intact thread between the two worlds. The anchor responded to her belief. Cracks began to close, but a shadow appeared. The first giant Elara had seen, the one that crashed to the sea, rose now from the storm vortex. But something was wrong. Its form had twisted, its light corrupted. It had been consumed by the failing anchor, transformed into a chaotic storm wraith, driven only by devastation. It roared, a sound like the sky tearing open. Erelos stepped between Elara and the corrupted giant. He was once Kalian, keeper of the Western Storm. The anchor's breakdown devoured his essence. If we do not stop him, he will shatter what remains.
When I first saw him,
Elara shook her head. No, he wasn't trying to destroy us when I first saw him. He was warning us. But Kalian's corrupted form struck, lightning spearing the ground. Erelos stumbled, cracks spreading across his own glowing body. Elara realized something. The anchor didn't just respond to belief. It responded to memory, to compassion, to the threads that still tied the two worlds together. She ran forward, not away from Kalian, but toward him, and touched the surface of his storm-shredded form. Her vision flooded again with memories. Kalian guiding ancient sailors, calming thunder for frightened children, shaping constellations with playful arcs of lightning. He had loved humanity. He had loved the sky. Elara forced these memories toward him, anchoring him the way the broken construct could not. Kalian's storm slowed, dimmed, stabilized. Then with a final shudder, he collapsed, not into destruction, but into clarity. His form returned, weakened but whole.
You have done what
Erelos
no
placed
giant
one
could.
massive hand on Elara's shoulder.
You remembered
You have
us.
done what no giant could. You remembered us. With Kalian restored, the three of them worked to repair the anchor. Elara guided the shards of light back into place, while the giants lent what remained of their power. It was a long process, days, perhaps weeks. Time flowed strangely in the sky realm, but slowly the anchor brightened. When the final crack sealed, the entire realm seemed to breathe again. Giants who had been nearly invisible regained their solidity.
Elara.
The storms resumed their natural rhythm.
Thank you.
The Sky Islands drifted peacefully once more. Elara felt the realm's gratitude wrap around her like warm wind. Aerolos bowed, an act so monumental the clouds bowed
Will
with
you
him.
return to your world?
You have restored
and
what we
become
thought
our
lost.
ambassador?
The worlds are connected again, and the anchor is stable. But its renewal must be maintained.
Yes.
Will you return to your world and become our ambassador? Elara looked at the restored anchor, the luminous giants, the endless horizon of sky. She felt the weight of their hope. Yes, she said, I'll make sure people remember. Elara stepped back through the portal
Did you
and
see
found
the
the storm
waves?
finally dissolving.
They stopped.
The sea
just
moved
as she
again.
appeared.
The villagers
Is it
peeked
truly over?
from their windows, unaware of how close their world had come to collapsing. She carried with her a small fragment of the anchor, a symbol of the renewed bond. Whenever a strange shimmer appeared in the clouds, whenever thunder hummed almost like a
The
greeting,
stories of old are
people
not
began
just
to
tales.
notice.
Look up,
And
Marrow's
Elara
Edge.
told the story,
The giants have
not as
returned
myth,
to watch over
not
us.
as fantasy, but as truth. A truth that lived in the sky above them, watching, listening, alive again, because the giants were still there. And this time, the world remembered.